Okay, so we filled up the tank with water. If your tank does not have to be moved, eventually what we want is we want the water to the very top, to the top band. So we don't want to see a water level down here because there's a little bit of water that does evaporate over the time. And then once the eggs go in, really there's not very much that is going to be bumped or moved or anything happening with this tank until after Christmas. So we want this right to the very top. So I always say above the black line there is really ideally what you want to see. Okay, and now you want to add your chemicals. You will have, this will have been delivered with your gravel. So you've got the Cycle, and that's the beneficial bacteria grower that will start everything working in the bottom of your aquarium and the gravel. And then you've got the Aqua Plus, and that's the conditioner. So this takes out anything, any chemicals that might be in the water there. Okay, now instructions are on the bottle, but what I usually say, you've got a 33-gallon tank or 150 liters. So this, just when we're talking about numbers, 33 gallons is about 330 pounds of water, this whole unit right here. 150 liters is 150 kgs. So it's a pretty heavy unit, and that's why we said it's really important to center this, get it where you want it before you start adding your gravel and all the rest. Okay, so let's get the chemicals in there. To start it up, you want to add 3 capfuls of Cycle, and on here it says new aquariums day 1, 25 milliliters per 38, so you want to times 3. Where it says 10 US gallons, so, and we're in Canadian gallons, so you know what? 3 capfuls is exactly what you want. We're not going to get into that math right now because I don't have a calculator with me. So I did do the shaking already. Always shake these before you open them up. And just on a side note with these chemicals as well, it does say on here, keep out of reach of children somewhere. So you know your class best, you know your students best, you know where this is. Most teachers, most schools have their chemicals right in their tote, which is at the bottom of your tank. You've got a chemical tote there. If you're not comfortable keeping your chemicals in there, you keep them wherever you want. But what I would suggest though, especially this year, is have a clipboard with all the newsletters printed off on that clipboard. And if your chemicals aren't going to be in the tote, leave a note on that clipboard where they are. If something happens and you're not at school for a while, or if I stop in and want to check something out, or need to get something out of your tote or whatever, just leave me a note as to where the tote is. That's just a good little of this. Okay, and this is the conditioner. Now, when you're doing water exchanges, we'll do another video about that, and this is weird, the whole cap, there we go. Cap came off with the measuring cap. So again, this is kind of a, whoops, syrupy color, kind of a yellowy color in there. And this is your, this takes the chlorine out of the water and all the rest. Okay, so just 1 cap, sorry, of the Aqua Plus will be fine for this amount of water. So put this lid back on. I usually just rinse my caps in here too. It's just a habit that I've got. So again, these go back into your tote, and in your tote, you've got a few other little things here. You should have. We're gonna know this. This is, if you read it on here, this is your ground fault circuit interrupter. So this is an important, it's important to have it on there. These are really expensive to replace, and they're handy little things, are about $75, $80. So you want to make sure that it stays with your aquarium if your aquarium ever gets put away in the spring, or if it has to be moved or whatever. The purpose of this is this gets plugged into the wall, okay? And then most aquariums have got some kind of a power cord, and that gets plugged into here. So if there's any water around your electricity, this will take out, this will just turn off and you won't have that issue with electricity and water. There is a reset button and a test button on here. So it has happened before where somehow one of these buttons got pressed and all of a sudden everything shut down. So the teacher phones in a panic saying that they don't have electricity in there, and that this is one of the first things that you want to check there, okay? And actually on the back of the instructions it says test before switching the unit on. I've never had a unit go to be used and not work, but it just gives you number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 on here to just double check to make sure that this is working properly. We've had this used before, so I know that this one does work. Okay, so this is what we're going to need to have plugged into the wall and have everything in there.